Hey, welcome back, Silver Bull fans. Welcome back to Silver Bull channel. Some really exciting things happening in the silver market. We're having what seems to be some pretty strong build up here, and it's not ridiculously high or whatever. It's just very strong build up, and we're getting close to the big $30 thing. Now, let's see if we see another silver waterfall. If you've been watching some of my other videos, it's interesting as silver takes off. There's often a silver waterfall, a big crash, as if someone's trying to take it down. Numerous theories on that. But if it crosses that $30 barrier, I think we could really see a continued push in silver. A lot of people are saying the Chinese are starting to buy silver bullion. It would make sense if that we already know China's a major buyer of gold, and if they're struggling to get all the gold they want, what else are they going to do? Well, they'll turn to silver. They've already recommended years ago for their citizens to buy up silver, so it would make sense for their own reserve bank to start buying silver, and if that actually happens, we really could see silver take off in a major way. And then there's I see Max Kaiser's talking about a backwardation in the market, and there's other commentators saying JP Morgan's this is really going to hurt them on their short positions, and the whole thing might come tumbling down, and we might see prices really take off. The only concerns I have with the silver market at the moment is we're seeing a slowdown in Chinese growth, so their demand might ameliorate. There's also Europe waiting to happen. So if they have a crash in the economies, the world economy again, which I will think will be bigger than 2008 because they never really solved the problems of 2008. We may see the industrial demand of silver die right down, and we may see a temporary price reduction. However, I think we'll see a flight of capital to value, and one of the few values you've got left is gold and silver. Mainly gold, of course, first, but eventually what happens, gold will go so sky rocket, people won't want to be getting rid of it. It'll just be it'll be held, and so people will look for what other alternatives there are, and really you've only got silver and platinum and palladium. You haven't got that many other precious metals to turn to, and certainly the potential upside in silver is probably a hell of a lot better than platinum, and silver's industrial uses, as I've explained in numerous other things, is huge. We may not even see a temporary reduction in silver due to industrial demand. It may just pick straight up. The investor demand may completely obliterate that slack. But so don't quote me on this. This is just my thoughts on it. I'm certainly not a financial advisor. This is just the way I see a possibility, a hypothesis of it playing out, and that's that we have a temporary reduction in the price of silver if there is a crash because of the drop off industrial demand, and then I see a short period of time where then investor demand picks up to the point where it will then make up for that temporary price reduction if it happens. It may not happen, and if you haven't got any silver and you're sitting off waiting for that to happen, I think that's a mistake. I think you should be at least stacking. Like I said, I'm stacking. Even worst case scenario, silver just slowly keeps pace with inflation. That's fine for me. Long term, that's a great thing. At the moment, interest rates in the bank are crap. You earn stuff all. You barely, your interest rates in the bank are barely earning your money, keeping pace with inflation. So really, your money's static in the bank. You're just sitting there. That only leaves a few other places. Real estate, well, here in Australia, real estate is still overvalued. It's come down a bit, But land prices and other things haven't really come down yet, because land prices in Australia are almost a cartel now, because most of the land development is done by corporations nowadays. So they just sit on the land forever and a day, which is frustrating. We're not seeing that drop off in land prices that we are seeing in house prices. Eventually they'll have to, because you'll get crappy old houses selling for not a lot more than a block of land, and people will just knock down their house and get their block of land. So eventually, even land prices have to be impacted by what's happening in the wider housing market. But some exciting things happening with silver at the moment. My only concern is, here in Australia we're having some of the mining companies change their mind over big developments, like BHP has decided not to build the Olympic Dam mine. It's going to be one of the biggest mines in the world, $14 billion investment, and they've stopped that coal. They're not going to do it now. They quote a whole bunch of reasons. The opposition leader, Tony Abbott, says it's due to the mining tax and the carbon tax. I certainly wouldn't think that wouldn't have an impact. That certainly would. It may not be the only thing. Commodity prices and others certainly have an impact as well. But the overall package, BHP just say, well, yeah, it's not worth the investment of the money at the moment. That was mainly going to be a copper and other elements mined, whereas I'm not sure what they're doing with their silver and gold, whether there's any of those projects they're putting on the back burner. If there is, it may be silver and gold. We will certainly see a shortfall of production, because most of the silver produced by the big companies like Rio Tinto and BHP is a byproduct. They're actually chasing other stuff like lead or zinc or other things, and silver just happens to be there as well. So they sell that off as a bit of cream on the top of their major project. But in fact, there's very few pure silver mines in Australia. I know Texas mines, what used to be called Texas mines, it may be called something else now. They are just a pure silver miner, but most of the mines in Australia, it's a combination of elements they're pulling out. So they'll often have lead, copper, zinc, gold, silver, all in this various ores in various percentages. So they'll take the lot and just take out what they can of each one through various processes. But silver's looking exciting at the moment. Let's watch closely, see if it breaks through this $30 mark, and if it does, we could really, I don't think it'd find too much resistance up to 40. After 30, the big main resistance is at $50 again, where it hits that high and does it then burst through that high. In which case we could, sky becomes a limit then. We saw last year it tested that $50 thing. I think it got to about $49.50, didn't break the 50, and was taken down big time, and then dropped all the way down to, I think, what did it get down to? Did it get down to $23? Someone remind me here in the comments. And since then it's pretty much sat between $26, $28 US an ounce, but we're starting to see a move now higher, and it'd be interesting to see where this move takes us. The only thing I can see that may stop it is if industrial demand, or obviously more market manipulation. Watch for those silver waterfalls. We'll see if some of the big players are still trying to take it down. The Federal Reserve's not going to want JP Morgan to be burned before their election, I imagine, so they may write them a bit of an open check to water down the market with as much paper as possible, but you don't put a fire out by adding more paper. You add more more paper to a fire, all you're going to do is create a bigger fire. Alright, that's Silver Bull Channel thoughts on the silver market at this time. Happy stacking. Get some if you can.